Hey, welcome back to Relocate to Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Luca Shaked, and today we're heading north, way north, to a place of icy lakes, endless forests, saunas, and soul. And yeah, we're talking about Finland, the land of reindeer, rally drivers, and something called sisu. And before we dive in, I have to mention I just came back a few weeks ago from the Happiness Studies Academy retreat, my fourth one actually. After Akumal in Mexico, the dreamy hills of Lake Como, and the color and rhythm of Mexico City, this retreat added a new layer to my understanding of happiness. Led by Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, who by the way is as insightful as ever, we explored what it truly means to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So, why Finland? Finland had made it the happiest country in the world for 8 years in a row, according to the World Happiness Report. But here's the interesting part. When we talk about happiness in this context, it's just not about good vibes and smiling selfies. The rankings are based on something much deeper, the science of subjective well-being, pulled from Gallup's World Poll, which surveys people in over 150 countries. So how does actually it work? Gallup asks people a series of life evaluation questions, and one of the most important is called the Cantril Ladder question. Imagine a ladder with steps numbered from 0 at the bottom to 10 at the top. The top of the ladder represents the best possible life for you, and the bottom represents the worst possible life for you. On which step of the ladder would you say you personally feel you stand at this time? Simple, but powerful. Each country's score is then calculated based on how their people, on average, rate their own lives on that ladder. But the rankings go even further by looking at 6 key factors that explain the variation in happiness between countries. GDP, per capita, economic strength and income, social support, having someone to count on in times of trouble, healthy life expectancy. Are people living longer and healthier? Freedom to make life choices, feeling free to live life your way. Generosity. Are people willing to help others or donate to causes? Perceptions of corruption, the trust in public institutions, and each of these is used to explain why certain countries constantly perform well. So, yeah, Finland scores highly on economic stability, healthcare, and social support. But it really shines when it comes to trust, freedom, and a shared sense of fairness. Finns believe their systems work. They believe in each other, and that belief creates a sense of security that's hard to measure, but deeply felt. Okay, so what do the numbers say? Finland scored 7.7 out of 10 on the latest report. Denmark followed close behind at 7.6 and Iceland at 7.5. So United States, for comparison, came in at ranked 23 last year and this year 30 with a score of 6.9, and the global average sits around 5.5. And here what is interesting. Finland's edge isn't just about wealth, it's trust. A whopping 87 of Finns say that they trust their fellow citizens. Compare that to 40% in the US. On top of that, Finland ranks incredibly high in low corruption, freedom to choose one's path, and accessible high-quality healthcare and education, both which are free. In other words, people in Finland may not smile all the time, but they sleep well, trust their neighbors, and know that the systems around them work. That's a very different flavor of happiness, one rooted in security, dignity, and shared responsibility. It's not about being happy every moment, it's about knowing life is okay, even when it's not easy. And that's what keeps Finland on top. Okay, so now let me take you into my own experience. At the HSA retreat, we explored not just the science of happiness, but its lived expression. In Finland, that expression is quiet, grounded, and humble. You don't hear people brag, you don't see fake positivity, but what you do see is that this is steady, almost invisible joy. Families biking together in the forest, people actually taking lunch breaks, strangers helping you without fuss. It's happiness as a rhythm, not a show. And when we jumped from sauna to frozen lake, I felt it in my body, that happiness isn't always pleasure. It's presence, it's aliveness. Okay, but wait, suicide? Now, here it is when it gets complex. Finland has one of the highest suicide rates among North countries. And how can a country be the happiest and still have that? Here's the reality. National happiness is an average. It doesn't mean everyone is happy all the time. Finns are famously private. There's a cultural value in not burdening others, which can sometimes translate to not seeking help. Long winters, low sunlight, and isolation, especially in rural areas, can hit hard. Mental health struggles, particularly depression and alcoholism, have historically been under-discussed. But here's the important part. Finland has made huge strides in suicide prevention. Rates has dropped significantly since the 1990s. The country now invests heavily in mental health education, access to therapy, and community support. So what we're seeking in the country is a country that understands the complexity of well-being. There's not sweeping anything under the rug. They're working on it, and that too is part of why they're happy. So this is where sisu comes in. The Finnish word that means grit, stoic determination, and the quiet courage to keep moving forward. Sisu is not about toxic positivity. It's about acknowledging pain and pushing it through it anyway. It's facing dark winters, and literally and metaphorically, and choosing to light a fire. Or better way, build a sauna. When I was there, I felt this ethos in every person I met. They weren't performing happiness, they were living through life with honesty and strength. Okay, so now let's talk about what Finland teaches us about happiness. What does it mean this for us? That happiness is not about being cheerful 24/7. That trust, support, and simplicity create space for well-being. That accepting life's darkness and learning to work with it is maybe the most powerful form of joy. Finland doesn't sell you happiness. It doesn't put it on a billboard. It just lives it day by day through silence, structure, and sisu. Okay, so let's talk about your next step. Remember the actionable things to do? So maybe you're not about to, you're not exactly about to move to Finland, but you can bring some of Finland home with you. First of all, spend more time in nature. 2, value silence. 3, cut the noise into your schedule. 4, build trust in your relationships and in yourself. And then 5, and when winter comes, inside or out, don't run. Sit with it. Sauna through it. Then plunge back into life. Thanks for joining me on Relocate to Happiness, and if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend or someone who's trying to make sense of happiness in a noisy world. And until next time, stay warm, stay honest, stay strong, stay sisu.